So this is one of my friend's trucks. He's a member of the membership site, and we met through YouTube. I've been talking for quite a while, and it was actually another video, the number 4 injector pigtail that I replaced on the side of the road. I think it was in Iowa. And anyway, I did a video on this truck back at the beginning of September, just curious to see what you guys thought was wrong with it. I went through the story about how it went down on him. It cracked the HP4 pump that was on it, the high pressure pump, and he took it to a repair shop. They charged him to put another pump on it. It ran 5 miles down the road, went dead again. They said they couldn't figure out what was going on with it, and they were going to charge. They had it towed to a dealership, and then I went and picked it up from the dealer. They were going to charge an awful amount just to tear it down, see what was wrong with it. And I went and picked it up from the dealer, brought it back here, and took it all apart and figured out what was wrong with it. That's been back at the beginning of September. I just now got around to editing the video. So that's what we're going to be doing. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll get this started. Pump is out, finally. Are you kidding me? Hold on. Alright, tell me where to go. I can't see. Look at that. Look at that, look at that. The first thing I did was unhook both the batteries, and that's all I have done. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is pulling the air box out and pulling this little piece off, and the AC compressor. I'm going to take it off and try to finagle it over here to the hole where the air box is, because I don't want to break the system. He said that they did break the system, said you couldn't get the AC compressor off without breaking the system, which is, that's incorrect. Regardless of who tells you that, you can get it off. It's just tedious, but it's not that bad. I did mine on the side of the road last week. So I'm gonna get the air box out of the way, get the belt off and the AC compressor off, and then I'll be back. So the air box is out, which was easy because it wasn't really in the first place. They just set it down the hole. It wasn't clipped in. He said they had to take the lines loose because you can't remove the AC compressor without doing the lines. And I'm going to show you why. I can see. I'm going to have to unplug this one as well here in a minute. But I'll show you why a lot of people would assume that. Now, this bolt is out, this bolt's out. This bolt is all but out, but when you raise it up, it hits the lines and won't come out. You can see the clearance on that one. As soon as you start raising it up, it hits that bolt. Or the bolt, stud, whatever you want to call it, hits that line. What you have to do is turn it a little bit at a time and raise the compressor up as it comes out. I assure you it will come out. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. So once you get the bolt broken loose, you can go right in here. A lot easier if I can see, but turn it like this. Yeah. Kind of hard for us both to see at the same time, but once you get the bolt loose, just come right in on top like this, and you can span out faster. The stud is already hitting the hose, but you can see it's loose. And see, when you pick that up, it gives you more clearance. So you're not going to hurt anything, in my opinion, just letting that stud lift the compressor as it comes out. But it is time consuming, it's tedious. Not everybody's gonna have the patience to want to do it. They're just going to rip the lines off and do the easy way. Granted, this is going to be challenging to do with one hand, but compressor is out and out of the way. All right, now there's what we're going after, the pump. So I'm gonna keep taking stuff apart until I get down to it. I imagine the turbo horn has got to come out, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep pulling things until we can get a clear shot to the pump. The harness that comes off of this plug right here runs across the top, goes to the alternator. You unplug the alternator, pull it out of that little push tab, lay it to the side, you get all kind of room. Trying to figure out how we're going to get to that bolt right there. Now, from what I've seen, that bolt on the turbo horn is supposed to be almost ungettable and a nightmare on these trucks, but as you can see, I'm on it. So we'll get that one, then we'll get this one, and hopefully just lay this stuff back over to the side. I unplugged the alternator and took this little wiring harness right here off, going right up through there, just kind of laid it back over in there. And someone told me the Y bridge had to come off, this piece right here, and it very well may have to, but being my first time doing it, I want to try it with it on. I don't really see what's going to open anything up, but it's going to be so tight it may just give you just that little bit of room. Alright, so another thing I wanted to show, this fuel line right here, the fuel line clip, I just took a pick and went straight in through that open hole right under that pink dot, that little slit, lifted up and took one of these little fuel line tools right here, took that one and look and see if it set a size like 3/8. So I put that in there and tapped on the back of it a little bit and it popped right off. This hose right here, is a fuel line that goes right down on there. Turn you a little bit more light on. It goes right down on there and turns and goes right into that fuel line right there. I guess it goes this way. That makes more sense. Yep, right like that, it goes up on that fuel line. Then this hose right here, coolant hose, goes right like that. But it was a booger to get off. And I'm sure that I'm probably going to learn that if I would have just pulled the Y bridge off, that stuff was a whole lot easier to get off. But like I said, I don't want to take off anything I don't have to take off. And if you see the blue down in there, I did shove a shop rag down there because when I pulled the fuel line loose, diesel started running out. So anyhow, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this on back and get it off the pump if I can, right like that. And then, yep, I should put another rag down in there, but I'll do that. And I'm gonna take this bolt loose. I'm gonna take this nut off right here, going to that fuel line. It comes right around, goes to that hold down and turns and goes into the back of the pump. So I'll get that whole line right there out of the way right quick. Got that line off. The one on the pump, the nut on the pump itself was super tight, but this one up here came off pretty easy. And it goes right there. And there it is, laying right there. And now I'm just kind of looking, seeing what comes off next. If this water neck wasn't here or this pipe was gone, I don't know. I'm gonna go grab the other pump and look at it and see, will it look like it would even possibly fit back down through there. And if it won't, then I will keep going until I make a big enough hole it'll come out. So I finally came to the conclusion that the Y bridge does have to come off. So all I've been doing is taking these little push pins, like I missed this one right here, but I've been taking all the wire push pins and popping them out. They're everywhere, and unplugging different things. I took the 13mm bolt loose here, took a 10mm bolt loose here to get this loose, and I had to take the heat shield off. It's only 3 10mm bolts, and they've always came out really easy for me, even this one. So took these two coolant lines loose from these two hoses right here, and the next thing will be taking these bolts out right here. There's two of them. I think they're 13 or 15, pretty sure 15. Anyway, we're going to take these two bolts loose right here to get it loose from the Y bridge. Then I will try to see how the wiring is actually going to act. I think it can go over the Y bridge. I think it can go over, and then that'll allow the intake to slip out this way. That's what I'm hoping for. And I know, like I say, the air conditioning is over here. That's kind of going to make it all up in the way, but I know there's a lot of guys that don't like that clamp right there, this right here. But I grabbed it with two hands just a second ago and turned it, and you just don't, it doesn't unscrew, it just rotates to the unlocked position. Then you can pull this down. There's also a bolt right here you have to take out. So I'm going to take this bolt out, spin that collar, wiggle that pipe off, and take these two bolts out, and just keep working my way down and showing you guys what I had to do as I go along. So I did get all the bolts loose on the Y bridge. I did get that pipe off. That was the easiest I've ever got one of those off. Barely turned the collar by hand, pushed down on the pipe, and it just popped right off after I took the bolt out that holds it down on the side. Anyway, the 10mm bolt right there, the one that's missing, this one right here, I had to take that one out by hand. I got the rest of them with a swivel and the Milwaukee ratchet, but that one was not I thought that one would be an easier one, but I was wrong. It's so tight right down through there, I couldn't get anything down through there to get on it. But anyway, all I got left is to take the bolts out of the holes and try to lift that thing up and see what I missed. There we go. So that is my first time personally ever pulling a Y bridge on one of these motors. Anyway, still doesn't look like enough room to get that out though. My curiosity, if that was out of the way, that water neck, it would come. I'm actually using the camera to look and see can it be unbolted and lifted out. But from the best I can tell, no. Took these white rags and covered up, well, tried to cover up the intake. Try to make sure nothing fell in there or got in there. I shoved the rag in the other one. But anyhow, the pump should be loose. There are 4 13mm bolts that you go. It's almost impossible for me to show you guys, but I'll do what I can. There. If you go right down in here, there's one. And then I think if we go a little bit further on down, we find the other one. Right there. If you can see where the bolt's missing, there's one short one, one long one. On the other side over here, it's the same. You can see it right there. And then, let's see, then one right underneath it. That did get all the bolts out, and when all the bolts came out, the pump was loose. I could wiggle it and shake it, and all of a sudden it tightened up, and I'm just trying to finesse it and finagle it out of here. It's out. So I'm just going to try to wiggle this up and finagle it around to figure out how it can come up through that hole. People ask me why I don't like dealerships. Why won't I let somebody else work on my stuff? Just pulled the HP4 pump, Duramax diesel, 2017. Look at all that metal. And look at the lack of a gear that's supposed to be on there. Gear's still there. Right now I'm guessing that, I don't know if the nut wasn't torqued properly or what the problem was, but that gear, yeah, that's why he's not getting any fuel pressure. So the pump is loose. It's just laying down the intake valley, but to get it out, I have to pull the thermostat housing. To get that off, I got to pull these brackets, the AC bracket and the alternator bracket. Those brackets have got to come completely off the front. Now, what I noticed, I have done this before, and there's one bolt on the back coming in from the back side of the power steering pump, and then you have 3 bolts that you get through the gear. So here is one bolt, and then we'll follow that hole around. This bolt is missing. That bolt is missing, and that is a 3 that hold the power steering in. So it does have this one, and hopefully, I haven't even checked to see if the one is there on the back. I'm gonna have to go around and get at it from the other side, but I mean, it seems pretty solid. I'm gonna assume it's got the back bolt in it, but I know it is definitely missing this bolt and this bolt. So this is the AC / power steering bracket, and I'm trying to put all my bolts back where they go, but there was 2 that stayed in the compressor. Anyway, so you have the 3 power steering bolts that go through these holes and thread into the pump. Then you have this one on the back side that goes in, threads into the pump. These 2 were missing, so it had this one and it had this one coming in through the back. And you see I'm trying to put all the bolts back where they go. As far as taking this off from the engine, there's 2 studs that stick out right here, and then there's one bolt right here, if I remember right. One here and one here. Yep, here and here. And then this bracket, you take something and get in there and push the power steering up, and it'll roll out and it gets out of the way, and you slide this off. This is what it looks like when it comes off. You got the 2 studs right here, the 1 bolt hole right in there where that 1 bolt goes on, and then there's another, I can see it in the camera, but I can't, right there where the other bolt goes. Anyway, so now I'm pulling the one off of this side, the bracket off of this side, and this tube, I shoved a rag, I've had that rag over top of it, and it wound up getting pushed down in it, so I guess I need to get it next out of there, but I had to get some pliers to pull it out. Anyway, there's a glow plug controller right here. There's 1 10mm bolt in the top, 1 in the bottom. I'm working on getting that bottom one out. I've already taken the top one out. There's a stud right there. Let's see. There's a stud right there. And then there is a bolt that goes in right underneath that tensioner. right there. So I went ahead and took the tensioner off. It's only one bolt in the center. Pull the bolt out and that just pops off. That allows easy access to that bolt. And now I'm gonna try to get down here on this other 10mm bolt, get it out. Glow plug controller will be loose, then I can slide this off with the 2 studs. So that's what I'm working on now. I did have to take the glow plug controller off. I did get it off. 10mm bolt on bottom, 10mm bolt on top. There's one of these plugs right here, the cam plugs. It's down in the wiring harness somewhere, and there's that plug right there. Now on that plug, you just squeeze the 2 sides together. Just squeeze, pull, which is a lot easier said than done in the location it's in. So, and then there's the cam plug. Be very careful with those. They got to come straight out, go straight in. I do know that, and try not to let it get banged or damaged while you got it unplugged. So I'll find somewhere a little more secure to put that. And this, I would hope this will come off now. That stud right there is super, super long, and it's hitting the fan shroud. Once it clears the fan shroud, it just goes flying. So there's that. So that being said, now I can get to these 4 bolts right here. Take this one off. I saw someone else that disconnected it up in here, and I may do that. I don't know, we'll see. But either way, those 4 bolts have got to come off. Those 4 bolts over there have got to come off. Then this piece will come off. Then I can lift the daggum fuel pump out. Oh yeah, and there was 2 brackets, 2 10mm bolts here. One held the glow plug controller. This is the top glow plug controller, bottom glow plug controller, and there's a metal line right here. You got to get that off, or you're not going to be able to get this bracket off. But once you get the glow plug controller out of the way, get it unplugged, you can get the top bolt really easy. Once you get the plugs out of the way, you can come down and get the bottom bolt really easy, and you can get the one that goes to that line really easy. So, and once again, I put the bolts back in their holes. I may have to take it back apart as I'm putting it back on in order to get this bolt in and with a line on it. Then I'll put this back on, but it just keeps everything together. It may take just an extra second. When I walk to the back of the truck, I will stick the tensioner back on and put the bolt back in it and thread it in. That way when I go back, put all this stuff back together, the bolts should be exactly where they go. The same bolts that came out of the same holes. I went ahead and took these 2 bolts out, and I took that hose off. And me being me, I took this hose off. This hose is, well, it's covered up now. It's right back in here somewhere, right here. Anyway, that should have this free. There was one of these little push pins right here. Then there was 2 bolts on the bottom. There's 2 bolts on top, 1 stud on the bottom. About halfway up, not even halfway up, quarter way up, there's another stud underneath right there. And there's another stud right here, and another stud right there, and then 2 bolts on top on this side. So now it's loose. So we're gonna try to wiggle this out. Now I did drain the coolant in a big old bucket under the truck, and I'm gonna have to watch this and make sure it doesn't get all hung up on a bunch of stuff. And if I would have known all this stuff for sure, I would have left this on and just took the radiator hose off, learning as I go. So it's hitting the fan thing right here, and it will pop off. It's It's sitting right there. But this bracket right here is just like a ball and socket, and you can take and pull this off. I'm just not having a lot of luck, getting weak in my old age. I'm gonna grab something to stick in there and pop that off, and it should fall down, and then this should come right past it. Now I want to show you. I got that off, by the way, and as soon as I did, like I said, it fell straight down. So the fan did not have to come off. That nut did not have to come off. So here's this. And look at all that room now just to slip that pump out. Pump is out, finally. And you guys don't know how happy that makes me. Now I gotta clean that mess up. But I'll be honest with you, after seeing the metal that I saw, you don't see a nut in there that we're missing anywhere, do you? That would be great. But I'm worried that nut has fell in on top of those teeth. Are you kidding me? Hold on. Alright, tell me where to go. I can't see. Look at that. Look at that, look at that. I'm not 100% sure which way turns to pump, but the shaft is turning freely with minimal effort. So, well, minimal effort from a really big wrench. So that tells me right there the pump is not locked up. Well, my personal opinion, after the fuel pump came out, you could take the gear, put on the pumps, and spin the nut back on hand tight and spin the gear. You could feel the cams turning, you could feel everything working just like it's supposed to, in my opinion, what it's supposed to. I think the pump is good. I think the gear, I don't know if gear is usable or not, but if the gear would not have got against the front cover and sawed into the aluminum and filled the oil pan full of metal shavings, we could put a pump on that truck and it'd be good to go. But now with all that metal in the oil pan, it could go 3 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 miles, 300,000 miles. Nobody really knows. It just depends on how much metal is in it. So he's waiting to see what they're going to say as far as if they're going to cover anything on this, because it's going to be a big job no matter what we do. And my personal, what I told him I would do is, just to get him back on the road, is to go ahead and get a salvage yard engine, stick in the truck, take that one, tear it down, have it cleaned. That way you're getting all the metal out of the journals and all that stuff, because we don't know how far the metal went. Getting all the oil out of the journals and all that, and it runs great, so it would be a good usable engine. It just not with all that metal in the oil pan. Like I said, it would be a ticking time bomb. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. If you're watching this on the membership site, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, you could have got early access if you was on the membership site, plus see other videos that will never make it to YouTube. Yeah, it's 14-day free trial. You can try it if you like it. You do. If you don't, you don't. And a lot of the videos I post on the membership site will make it to YouTube, but not all of them. And I'm sorry about all the background noise. I'm sitting here, got the door open, and yeah, there's another one. This truck right here, it is literally kicking my butt wherever it's at right there. It's literally kicking my butt. I just did an engine swap in that truck, put a 22 model engine in an 18 model truck, and there are some slight differences. So that's another reason to stay tuned to the videos, because I'm going to go over everything that did not work on the 22 model motor engine in the 18 model truck. So anyway, because there are some differences, and I'm going to make a video about this whole engine swap, and I'm also going to make a video about just on the differences. So if you're looking at doing that, you don't have to watch the whole video, you can just see, so anyway, I hope to see you guys again soon in the next video, and thanks for watching.